And I'm not familiar with this exactly, but after he got out, he praised the NHS and then went back to trying to dismantle it, didn't he? Isn't that amazing? And that's like Trump right now. He's tweeting about protecting pre-existing conditions. He's suing to get rid of them. Boris Johnson and Donald Trump are both dumb fucks. I don't know how you guys fucking got saddled with Boris Johnson. I'm sorry. I'm incredibly sorry. You guys have had a run of really bad PMs, haven't you? Theresa May and Gordon Brown. There's one between Gordon Brown and Theresa May, though, wasn't there? That he wasn't. David Cameron, was that it? But he fucked himself over. I'm not that familiar with British politics. God, I wish things would calm down over here, because I used to love watching shit like Prime Minister's questions and stuff. We just got too much stuff over here for me to keep up with, and I just overload. I used to try to keep up with other countries. I loved Prime Minister's questions. Do you guys still do that shit? Yeah, he wanted the Brexit vote, didn't he? But he wasn't pro-Brexit. And like he fucked himself over on that when he had to hand the government. That's why he had to hand it over to May, right? Awesome. I like to defer to other people when it comes to international politics. As you can tell, I try to keep up with what's going on, but heart goes out to you, but then again, I mean, look what the fuck is going on over here. Hopefully, we at least have somebody competent in the, and that's another thing. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I've been keeping this back for a while. On this show, I've taken the position that I will be voting third party because I'm in a safe state. Over the last few weeks, I've changed my mind and I will be voting for Joe Biden. I don't want to. I don't like him. I fought against his principles and his policies my entire fucking life, it feels like, since I've been out of high school. And his part of the Democratic Party, I can't stand them. I hate neoliberals. I never in a million years would have thought that I would vote for a neoliberal. But we are just at a point now where we need a fucking adult. Just a competent fucking adult. And the closest thing we got is Joe Biden. So, fuck it. I'll vote for him. So this is me. If you're listening to me and you are planning on voting for Donald Trump, I'm going to urge you to look into Jo Jorgensen. Please vote for her. If you're planning on not voting, look into Jo Jorgensen. Vote for her, please. Vote Democrat in your down ballot tickets. If you don't like Joe Biden, fine, that's cool. Fucking there's some great fucking senators. There are some great senators, and we're going to cover them. We're going to cover two of them here in a little bit. We're gonna cover the race in South Carolina. We're going to cover the race in Tennessee. Both of them have a shot. And it's amazing. I'm sure he did. I'm absolutely sure he did. But I can't in good conscience. Okay. I wouldn't vote for Joe Biden unless I thought it absolutely fucking mattered. There needs to be a winner on election night because this motherfucker right here is going to try to fuck with everything. If it looks like he won on election night, he's going to try to stop the tally. Exactly what happened in 2000 with the Bush-Gore decision. The Supreme Court stopped the vote counting. Al Gore won the presidency. They stopped it. They stopped it with Bush ahead. And that's what they're going to try to do this time. They're going to hope that Trump looks like he's winning on election night, and they're going to try to stop the vote tally. Because Democrats are more likely to do mail-in voting. I tried to go do my mail-in absentee ballot. Turns out it was months ago. It had to be like back in June for me to turn that shit in. So I have to go walk in. And since I have to go walk in, since it needs to look like Joe Biden won on election night, and I have to walk in anyway to vote, I'm going to vote for him. And that's the thing, man. It's going to be a landslide. It's absolutely going to be. He's going to win by 5-7 million votes. That's conservative. He may very well win by 9-10 million votes. But it's all about, are they in the right place for those votes to count for him to win the election? Now, luckily for us, it looks like he stands a really good chance of winning Arizona, Florida, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. He only needs like one of those or two of those. Yet, fuck Biden and the Patriot Act. Fuck Biden. Biden is a war hawk. He is beholden to the financial industry, and that is everything I can't stand. But under Biden, 200,000 Americans wouldn't have died. A fraction of that, maybe. I wish we had a parliamentary system. I wish we had more parties. That's one of the biggest problems facing the U.S. right now. I wish there were coalitions that had, because having people like AOC and Ilhan Omar in the same party as Joe Biden is absurd. Looking at the polls right now, Joe Biden has gained coming out of the debate. His favorables have gone up. His favorables have, that never happens. His favorables are way up from January. So just everything is breaking in Joe Biden's way perfectly. It's sad it's not Bernie Sanders. And man, looking back on this time last year, or how excited I was earlier this year, holy fuck. Just as soon as Joe Biden's elected, my ass is going to be on this microphone calling for him to be primaried in 2024. Hands down. My ass hopes that Nancy Pelosi loses to Shahid Butler. I keep fucking his name up. Shahid Buttar. I hope we take out several fucking crusty ass Democrats. So I understand Biden's strategy. And I was listening to Sam Cedar earlier, and he brought up he was the one that brought up the favorabilities have gone up since January, and he postured the notion that we're going to see campaigns actually not speak that much. Instead of campaigns being in your face all the time, they're going to take a step back because it looks like it worked for Joe Biden. But you know, this is such a weird fucking election. More or less what Joe Biden's campaign is about is not saying fucking anything and letting whoever paint what they want to believe about Joe Biden onto him. And that's not a bad strategy. I know, I love the fact that I've just left him sitting there. I got a little distracted on the Joe Biden rant there. But I mean, honestly, that's not a bad strategy. So here you have me. I'm saying I'm going to vote for him now. Well, what happens if he'd been out there just saying stupid shit all the time? It'd probably be a hell of a lot harder for me to vote for him then. But he just kept his fucking mouth shut. Kind of, So he hasn't been coming out and saying shit that's been pissing me off every week. So it's a hell of a lot easier for me to come around and be like, all right, I'll vote for you, motherfucker. Yeah. Well, we do have one Democrat. We got one. I wanted to talk about it today, but I don't think we're going to get to it. We got a Democrat running as a pro-Trump Democrat to try to unseat Mitch McConnell by being more pro-Trump. Fucking insane. She's going to lose, and she might cost Joe Biden votes in Ohio. So we'll probably talk about that one tomorrow. Amy McGrath in Kentucky. Stupid. Kentucky came so close to having having Charles Booker as the nominee to go up against Mitch McConnell, and Booker probably would have took McConnell out. Instead, McGrath is down like 10 fucking points. Because Democrats are fucking stupid. Hey, my catchphrase might be right-wingers are morons, but fuck. There are plenty of morons in the Democratic Party. And ironically, it happens to be the right-wingers in the Democratic Party. All right, let's watch Trump while I pack a bowl.
We're getting great reports from the doctors. This is an incredible hospital, Walter Reed. The work they do is just...
Who's we? He's the fucking president. How many of him is in there? What the fuck?
We're getting great reports from the doctors. This is an incredible hospital, Walter Reed. The work they do is just absolutely amazing, and I want to thank them all. The nurses, the doctors, everybody here. I've also gotten to meet some of the soldiers and the first responders, and what a group. I also think we're going to pay a little surprise to some of the great patriots that we have out on the street, and they've been out there for a long time, and they've got Trump flags, and they love our country. So I'm not telling anybody but you, but I'm about to make a little surprise visit. So perhaps I'll get there before you get to see me. But I just, when I look at the enthusiasm, and we have enthusiasm like probably nobody's ever had. Our people that love the job we're doing, we have more enthusiasm than maybe anybody. So it's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it, and it's
the school of hard knocks. Like every dumb motherfucker has on their Facebook is their college.
A very interesting thing, and I'm going to be letting you know about it. In the meantime, we love the USA, and we love what's happening. Thank you.
Boy, howdy is he trying to be the first king of America. There's a Silver Sun pickup song called The Royal We, and you saying that put it in my fucking head, man. Thanks a lot. Yes, I saw the SNL debate. I was a little let down by SNL this past week. I wasn't going to mention it, but I thought the debate was really... I mean, Jim Carrey's great. He really nailed the Biden impression. Abso-fucking-lutely. Goddamn. I didn't think there were any really good jokes. And that's been something that SNL has struggled with the last couple of years. Is like, how do you make jokes about something that is a joke? You know, they're almost like fucking... Alec Baldwin is just saying shit that Trump said. I would watch that Magic School Bus. Fuck yeah. Can you imagine what this man's insides look like? All the fast food and syphilis. If you've seen that Rick and Morty episode where they go into the guy and they do the theme park inside of him, that's probably what Trump's insides look like. Just racked with disease. Oh, but I don't know, man, because like Will Ferrell actually did something with the material. He gave us something different. I mean, Baldwin's just going verbatim. I don't know. There is something off about SNL, and I really, their first sketch after the Chris Rock monologue was that bit about people's names. Like the lick of my balls or some shit. And like, I was like, God, they've done that skit a million times. They've gone to the well with that one over and over and over again with fucking people changing their names that sound like this. And that was, and I was worried after I watched that, 'cause I'm like, if that's your first fucking sketch, that's what you thought was the strongest you have. Ooh. And I was really hopeful because their last 4 or 5 episodes, maybe 4 or 5, I can't remember how many they did at home. They were great. They were all great. So I was really let down by Saturday Night Live. Really let down. I was so excited too. Sparkles was over here. We watched, it was Mean Girls Day. I'd never seen Mean Girls, but I'm a big Tina Fey fan. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's watch Mean Girls. So we watched Mean Girls, and then I'm going to, like, she didn't realize it was the season premiere of Saturday Night Live. I'm like turning on the TV, like she's flipping out because like I never turn it to the regular TV. What the fuck? And I'm like, I'm trying to find NBC. We'll watch Saturday Night Live. She's like, nah, I'm gonna go home. Man, that is, as somebody who fancies himself a comedian, dude, it's fucking tough. I did it the other day. I was trying to insult him, and I just stopped. I'm like, what can I say? What adjective can I put in front of him that hasn't been said by anybody else? And that's one of the reasons why I want Biden to win, just because I'm tired. I want to fight some people. I want to have debates online that are a little bit higher in intellect. All the Trump supporters that call in, they just never know what the fuck they're talking about. At least if I'm going to argue with some liberals, they live in the real world. They understand things. Spitting Image come back. I don't know what you're talking about. Is Spitting Image, is that like a comedy troupe or something? That might be a British thing that we don't know about over here. You guys just about saw me throw up on my computer because I got some ash. And it was nasty. I'm still not even really high yet, guys. Can't do a show without being fucking high. But I got a lot of stuff to get to, and we've only got about a half hour until the Joe Biden town hall. So this is Kelly McEnany, who tested positive this morning. Tweeting out the Trump drive-by to his supporters last night, which put several people in danger. Phone lines are open, 917-830-4359. I keep looking over because like I'm thinking if you tried to call in or something, I didn't answer. Like, no, I don't have any missed calls. But please, do call in and argue with me, 917-830-4359. The phone lines are open. Ass clowns. So yeah, Secret Service is incredibly pissed over him making them do this. Now, I would hope that they were volunteers. They didn't actually make people go out and participate in this fucking photo op. So did she even do a press conference this morning? Or is she at home quarantining finally? As I said, she's not bad. You're going to hear from her, Kelly McEnany, the White House press secretary. You're going to hear from her in the future. She'll be like the Tucker Carlson spot. God damn, that was fast. Tweet that out. Nothing about her own diagnosis. That's weird. Holy shit. This is the third day in a row the president has condemned white supremacy. No, it hasn't. No. He was asked at the debate if he would be willing to condemn white supremacy, and he said yes. Did he do it? No, he didn't. He said he would be willing to. Yes, he never did. And when asked to condemn white supremacy, he actually said, no, it's the left that's doing it. And in case anybody missed the other night when I actually showed the stats, let me pull them up. It is not the left committing violence and acts of terrorism in this country. It is right-wing extremism. But hey, if you tell people that Antifa is burning down cities enough, people will believe you. If you repeat a lie enough, people will believe you. Especially people that really want to believe you. That's some fucking Nazi shit. Aren't you amazed that he didn't have the Bible in his hand as he was riding by? That kind of shocked me. Especially, so one of the reasons why is because he's gonna need the evangelicals to turn out. Like, all of them. He can't afford a slither of evangelicals staying home if he wants to win. Like, that's the group that's going to put him over the edge. Love the Seinfeld, man. Oh, did I not copy this over yet? This is gonna be fun. So I didn't see this anywhere else. Last night at Walter Reed, Chief of Staff Mark Meadows went out and started handing out shit. Now remember, this motherfucker right here. This motherfucker right here, the Chief of Staff, has been exposed to numerous people that are positive for that are indeed positive for COVID. Numerous people. And this motherfucker out here handing out shit. I can't tell what he's handing out. It looks like candy cigarettes.
Thank you, guys. How's the president doing? How's the president doing?
He's doing well.
All right.
He's in good spirits. He loves America.
Seriously, is that a pack of candy cigarettes? What do you guys think that is? I've been trying to figure this out. And where did he fucking get candy cigarettes from? Or are they packs of real cigarettes? What the fuck?
America. He loves
So do we! Yeah! Well, we're praying for him in the first place. I'll take another one.
It's Coke.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for all the stuff.
Is it cigarettes? I mean, it's not a bad idea. You got a bunch of Trump supporters standing around outside. I bet a lot of them are smokers. It's a very expensive item. Handing out cigarettes in front of a hospital. Yeah, and during COVID. God damn. But from a hey, he knows his audience though. I'm telling you. I'm sure a lot of those motherfuckers are smokers. And cigarettes aren't cheap, so that was a very I didn't have music on exactly. There we go. Cigarettes aren't fucking cheap. That's a hell of a thing to gift somebody. Motherfuckers basically handing out $5 bills in hell in D.C., Maryland. It might probably be about $10 a pack. He's handing out $10 bills. I don't know how much that is in pounds, man. I think it's like 12 pounds. I just ordered no pounds. No, euros. I'm sorry. I don't think you guys use pounds anymore. Do you still use pounds? I don't fucking know. Euros. I paid like 12 euros for something that was $15 the other day. That's my conversion math for you. Pounds, yeah. Oh, you never switched to euro, which I mean you Brexted anyway, so. Do your shops in the UK, do they take euros though? Do you take both kinds of currency? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because there's a lot of businesses that are like regional in the Eurozone, right? Dude, you're in fucking Britain. You're up late, aren't you? Yeah, I guess it's probably what, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Well, I mean, if you're just talking like a border agreement and a common currency, but like I know there's a lot more to it. See, I don't know enough about it to really speak. Like, all in all, I think it's a great idea, but like you're bringing up things like, you know, I probably haven't seen it in practice and seen all the different friction of how it is actually implemented. But now over here, you've got a lot of ultra religious people that are going to freak out and start screaming New World Order. Too sweet. Oh, we already did the cat. So this is another person from the Trump rally. We were talking about the Nazism earlier, and you're going to see it in full display right here. Like, these people are goddamn crazy. So this is another angle.
God bless our president. I will die for him. I will die for that man, happily. I will die for him. Anybody want to mess with him, you mess with me first. He is a hero, that man.
Yes, Trump, the hero.
God bless our president. I will die for him. I will die for that man, happily. I will die for him. Anybody want to mess with him, you mess with me first. He is a hero, that man.
I mean, what other explanation can you have for this somebody saying shit like that, other than they're just attracted to this cult of personality? It seriously is some straight up fucking Nazi shit. And this right-wing propaganda, of course, leads to people like that who say they will die for Trump easily falling for the bullshit of organizations like the fucking Proud Boys. The founder of the Proud Boys shows up at the hospital to support Trump. Now, I tried to actually get video of it. Apparently, this is the... CNN took some video. And the thing that I find fucking crazy about that is that Gavin isn't a part of the Proud Boys anymore. Gavin, I agree with you, Jordan. I agree. Gavin left the Proud Boys like a year and a half ago to help a court case for one of its members. Because them not being an organization would be helpful to his case. So Gavin actually left the Proud Boys and, as far as I know, had been trying to reform his image and was attempting to host a like a right and left crossfire type show where he was like portraying himself as this centrist figure. And he was wanting to bring on the far left and the far right and put them together. But it would appear that after the debate and Trump's little shout out, Grifter Gavin has jumped back in with the Proud Boys and has realized, this might be kind of lucrative for me. Now, we've already went over the Proud Boys. I had a dude dispute me that they were a white supremacy group. They are. Because one of their members is like Cuban and half Cuban, half black or something like that. That's the current leader. Oh shit. Man, if he had stayed with Vice, he absolutely would have been loaded. Why? And that's probably one of the reasons why he's so goddamn angry. That is probably one of the I mean, he's not doing bad for himself anyway, but holy shit, he would have made a ton. But the story about him putting a butt plug in his ass, that is true. We played that the other day. Oh God, let me see. It's a Vic Berger tweet. Let's see if we can pull it up real fast. If you want to, no, I better not, because I got a adult thing. I got a YouTube makes you have to like press a button to watch shit, and it hurts my views. It doesn't recommend them. I'll send it to you after the show, though. Or you can check out Vic Berger. It's like, just scroll down Vic Berger's timeline. He's got several videos about the Proud Boys. There's one about violence, and there's one that's just fucking absurdity. And then at the end, you'll see, like, to prove that he doesn't hate gay people, he stuck a butt plug up his ass. Exactly. Fucking Shane Smith. And Shane Smith, fantastic, reasonable man. Sit down and have a conversation with that motherfucker. Gavin, though, holy shit. I've never been amused by Gavin's fucking shtick. He always annoyed me. And like, I'm not anti-right wing at all. Like, I'm a huge Anthony Cumia fan. And if you know Anthony Cumia, then like, I've actually thought about reaching out to that motherfucker and saying, hey, you and I should host a show, because like ever since Opie and Anthony broke up, he's kind of been like looking for another co-host and not really finding one. Like, hey, if you can fucking do a show with me and not shoot me in the face, motherfucker, we could make some great radio together. But I'm afraid Anthony Cumia would get pissed off at some of my leftist shit and pull out his gun and blow my fucking brains out live on air. Now that would make great content. Don't get me wrong. But I enjoy life. That's why I said the thing about the cops. If you ever found out that I suicided myself, the cops got to me. Ain't no suicide happening in here. I like life. Plus, I'm a coward. Coward when it comes to that kind of shit. Other than that, I got balls of steel. Bring me any right-winger. I will argue with them. 917-830-4359. That's not a bad idea. I like the way you think. I think you're into it too, aren't you? You're like, yeah, you and Anthony would be a great show. Mm-hmm. Now that'd be really good radio if he fucking pulled out a gun and shot the computer because he got fucking pissed off at me, and then I could just laugh at his ass. But yeah, if that motherfucker tied up his girlfriend and shit, and he's like, oh, like fucking Anthony is not that is not an admirable human being, but goddamn is he funny. God, he cracks me up. Oh shit, I fucking love his show. I'll clip this and put it on YouTube, and then I'll email it to him. Maybe. Then I can actually meet Gavin, because he and Gavin are really good friends. Because of course they are. That makes perfect sense. But now over the weekend, the Proud Boys, that hashtag really blew up. But not for the reason a lot of people, you know, would think it would blow up. This is a new one in the last hour here. A source within the Proud Boys says the local chapters are using the hashtag to recruit more pro-Trump gay men, calling the initiative Strike While the Iron's Gay. They're fucking excellent at messaging. Couldn't even be proud men. Well, it's a Nazi tactics in messaging. They're excellent, man. Look up fucking George Lincoln Rockwell. That motherfucker came up with a lot of the tactics the current alt-right are using now. Shit like that, like haha, let's pro-Trump gay men, and they're out there. Hey, I was on Grindr the other day and I saw a transsexual girl that was absolutely pro-Trump, and that one blew my mind. Wow. She was cute too. I would have sent her a message. Other than that whole pro-Trump thing. My profile actually says on Tinder and shit, it's like, don't swipe or message if you are a Republican, Christian, or stupid. But that last sentence was a bit redundant, wasn't it? Tweets for Trump. Oh shit, really was it? Hey. Oh, now this is great. If you're a twink now, I could totally see you be looking for a daddy like a Trump. That makes sense to me, knowing the gay community. I might have just blew some people's minds because I talked about having a Grindr and then referred to the gay community as something separate from me. If you've ever watched The Simpsons, they ask Troy McClure what his sexuality is. It's something so perverse. That's the gif I send people when they ask me if I'm gay. I send them that gif of Troy McClure talking about he's getting ready to like talk about having sex with fish, but Selma cuts him off. That's a fucking hilarious clip. Hold on, I gotta find it now. I'm just getting completely off track now. This has been an off the rails show.
Are you gay?
Gay? I wish. If I were gay, there'd be no problem. No, what I have is a romantic abnormality. One so unbelievable that it must be hidden from the public at all costs. You see...
Stop!
So yeah, when people ask me if I'm gay, that's how I respond. No, I'm not gay, but they're all welcome at the party. Was Trump fucking fish? I wouldn't put it past him. And we found out this week, fucking pangolins, not a good idea. Ain't that right, Randy Marsh? Randy Marsh episodes of South Park are absolutely my favorite. So a whole hour-long episode that was focused on Randy and Cartman. That's how you do a South Park. Thank you, Matt and Trey. I love you guys. Alright, I believe this happened in Texas. I didn't even look. I haven't been paying attention. Trumpers in Texas are attacking people. Okay. So yeah, this is what the rhetoric of people like the Proud Boys and shit. This is what happens when you
Smash
let
you,
that
homeboy!
shit-
I'll fucking eat your fucking face off, motherfucker! You want a fucking piece? Turn it off! I'll fuck you off! Get up!
I know plenty of people like that. I know plenty of little dick having motherfuckers that will just fucking go the fuck off. If you're wondering what happened, I had a ring on. I don't know where it went. I'll find it later in the vacuum. Ah, don't you fucking both sides up in here because I got the statistics. Both sides my ass. Domestic extremist related killings in the U.S. by perpetrator affiliation over the last 10 years, 76%. Right-wing extremism. 3% left-wing extremism. Don't both sides this bullshit. You gotta pick something. Is the left a bunch of soy boy cucks that can't do anything, or are they violent? It's almost like right-wingers just make up whatever the fuck suits their narrative at the time, and facts don't fucking matter. Oh, it's been spicy, sir. Welcome, Producer Dave. Glad to have you, my friend. There is no fucking both sides. Don't ever fucking both sides. If you wanna fucking call and try to make the argument, 917-830-4359. Please. I'd love to hear from you. Try to make that bullshit both sides argument. This is your mind on right-wing propaganda.
Face off, motherfucker! You want a fucking piece? Turn it off! I'll fuck you off! Hey! Get up, motherfucker!
But you know what happens? You know what happens when left-wingers stand up to bullies like that asshole? We're the ones that take the brunt of it. We're the ones that are called violent. Constantly, every time we stand up to fucking bullies like that, we're the ones that get painted with a fucking broad brush. Nobody ever talks about right-wing violence in this country. It's not a fucking don't hear this on the mainstream fucking news. Right-wingers want to say that it don't be the way it be, but it be that way. I'd love for you to call in and make that argument, Stoic. 917-830-4359. But hey. Emotions are running high everywhere. We've got the pandemic, we got the election. Even people on cable news like Ted Cruz and Chris Cuomo really wanted to play this the other night. We didn't get to it. Huh? Oh wow, I bet CNN removed the video. Man, they don't just lurk, they call. Almost all of my calls have been from right-wingers. Some of them have been very nice people. I've only had like 2 really get mad at me, to be honest with you. We had the one last week where I asked him what the difference was in AOC and Katie Porter. And then I called him a racist. I mean, me calling him a racist probably doesn't do us any good. I mean, is it possible that I could have spent fucking an hour talking to him and trying to get him to understand his preconceived biases? It says right-wingers are morons. You can actually buy the shirt at the FREAKIN shop right here. It's my own original design. I do go check it out, man. You're going to enjoy it. Go get a real close-up of what the snake looks like. I have the shirt in there. See, I need to hook the Discord and have the voice chat up on there. As I told you earlier, I'm just now really getting acclimated with what Discord is. We got the troll chat over there. I don't know what's going on in it yet. Ah, shit, but now, like, fuck. Let me try to find this video. Let's see. It was something I was going to play on Friday. It's like, I'm not a Chris Cuomo fan. But he had the balls to say, look, this clip, where the fuck?
Chris?
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
This pandemic has been an enormous challenge across the country. I think Democrats and Republicans
gonna be
are
fun.
trying in good faith to keep people safe. But I think we can also have reasonable policy discussions about what works. A, to keep people safe, but B, to get people back to work. And
I didn't know I could do
want to
that.
go back to work. You know, this week Disney announced 28,000 layoffs. Now, Disney is not a right-wing company. They're
Now, we had the discussion on here that fucking Disney is probably a very right-wing company when it comes to their economics. Their public face and their marketing, sure, appeals to a progressive audience because that's what the majority of the country is. We're very progressive. Oh. Cuomo's going to go there. Cuomo is going to go there. If you haven't seen this clip, ooh, you're going to enjoy.
Very liberal
Airlines
company.
is gonna
But
do
what's
tens of
interesting about Disney, is they're doing the layoffs in California because California shut down the theme park. They're not doing the layoffs in Florida because Florida opened Disney World. I mean, it's a clear contrast where...
I bet they'll be shutting it down soon when there's like a mass outbreak in the park. I wonder what kind of outbreaks they've already had. Has that happened already in Florida? They've been open for a month or two now.
Democratic politicians in California have shut it down,
so
and
they're
they've
laying
cost
off the people
their
where they're
jobs.
out of business and not the place that they're in business, and you're saying that's political.
No, I'm saying the policy...
Hey, and Ted Cruz, if you do your fucking job and pass the HEROES Act, those people that got laid off would get an extra $600 a week. That would really help them. And since, like, we need to encourage people to stay home as much as we can, that's probably something we should do. Otherwise, everybody's going to keep going out, spreading this virus, and we're just going to keep stopping and starting the economy. That's going to be worse in the long run.
Of Democrats to shut the economy down are bad policies that hurt people's lives.
What do you
and
do
the
when people
layoffs
are getting
the direct
sick, Ted?
result.
What do you do when people are getting sick, Senator, and you can't test them?
You don't send them
and they
into
don't
nursing
wear
homes.
masks, and you tell them not to.
You don't send them into nursing homes.
Oh, so
yeah.
So the nursing homes was the sum total of the entire problem in the country. That's what it was.
It led
7
to New
million
York having
cases.
33,000 deaths compared to Texas having 15,000 deaths, and Texas has 50% more.
If you don't know what he's talking about, he's taking so this is Chris Cuomo, and the other one is fuck, his name is the governor of New York. Fuck. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but that's who Ted Cruz was taking a shot at about the nursing home thing.
More population than New York does.
And what about all the cases that they had? And how many people got sick by the refusal to shut down businesses? You say you want to open them up, but you won't discuss how. You say you introduced a bill, but you won't talk about the president and his failure. The testing has to be done at the federal level, Ted. You know this. You understand a little bit about state economics. You know the governor can't do it himself, right?
Well, actually,
Hey, man, Twitch spam, that's how you know you made it, isn't it? When I started getting spam, that's when I'm like, oh, shit, I'm starting to get noticed. Spam me, motherfuckers.
Governors have taken the lead and have had much greater success. Texas' record on every level is much better than New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts.
That's not true. Look at New York's numbers. Look at the rate every day of testing. My brother puts it out every day. They were the hub of where people were coming. You guys want to celebrate China. You let in 40,000 people. It had already moved to Europe.
So Chris,
you let in tens of thousands of people. They went to the hubs. That's why we got so sick
Does it trouble you at all that New York and New Jersey had the highest death rates in the country? Does that make you pause and say,
gosh? It all troubles me, Ted. And to watch guys like you stand by and stroke your beard like a wise man instead of telling the president to get on it when you have power.
How about tell your brother to get on it?
My brother will stand for his own record. Why don't you talk to the president the way you talk to my brother, Ted? You afraid of him? You think he'll smack you down at home?
Oh,
is that what it is? Like he shut you up in the primary?
Cuomo's. You guys
not
are really
Cuomo's,
tough.
I'm talking about the president. My brother's not the president. I'm talking about the president, the one who called you a liar, the one who said your wife was ugly. That guy, you know, the guy now who you won't say anything about.
I recognize.
You said Anthony, and I'm like, that don't sound right. It's Andrew Cuomo. That's the governor of New York. Sorry, my stoner ass spaced on that. This beatdown is awesome.
Is that you actually wonder why you don't have a lot of Republicans that want to come on your show.
I have more than any other show.
And yell at me and insult.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm raising my voice.
Jewish supremacy.
To match your own because you want to play games, Ted, and people are dying.
That's okay, Chris. You're perfectly fine.
Hey, man, you want to ask your question? Call in 917-830-4359. Let's talk about it. I don't particularly want to let you come on here with your anti-Semitism, but I didn't figure. They're usually cowards. Hey, it's all good. If anybody does want to call in, though, 917-830-4359. We've still got a little bit of this. There's 6 minutes of this video left, and it's already this contentious.
Fine, you scream and yell because you know what?
Oh, but you don't.
You're doing it because you don't want to discuss the substance.
You
invited me on the show to actually talk about the Supreme Court and talk about the book One Vote Away, and instead you just want to repeat insults over and over and over again.
Oh, but you're not.
Let's actually talk about.
You just bring up my brother for half the interview because you're such a fair guy. You play it so straight down the middle.
He seriously did. Everything was a shot at his brother. Like, you saw that. Just fucking every fucking answer.
You were just playing in a biased way, attacking
because the president's
Texas, Florida,
not at the top
Georgia,
of the food chain.
Coincidentally, happen to be Republican states when the death rates, they are markedly worse. And we should ask, when the death rates are markedly worse in some states than others, we should ask a reasonable question.
Yeah. Why didn't the president help sooner? That's the question. Why didn't the president help sooner? Why didn't he help the places that got hit hardest first when they were all Democratic?
Was it the right decision or the wrong decision when the president halted air travel into and out of China?
Right decision. Should have done it sooner and should have not let 40,000 people repatriate. Next question.
Okay, so I agree with you on that. I called for him to do it the day before he did it, but Joe Biden denounced it as racist and xenophobic.
No, he didn't.
Wait a minute, why is Cuomo taking questions? He's the interviewer. Why is he making Ted give him questions? Is cable news devolving into Twitch streams now? It's probably best for it.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
And Nancy Pelosi
I'll bet you dinner.
Up a vote.
I'll bet you dinner
House
Biden didn't denounce
for
it.
Democrats to stop the ban.
I'll bet you dinner that Biden didn't say that. You were right about Pelosi.
I would not go to dinner with Ted Cruz.
You're wrong.
You're
right about Pelosi, and it was a bad move.
And by the way, Chris, your colleagues at CNN, this is sort of the talking point. I with Jake Tapper actually read the Biden tweet to him. I don't have it in front of me right now, but he denounced it as racist and xenophobic. The New York Times, who you just had Tom Friedman on, had multiple articles saying it was a mistake. It was terrible to halt air travel into and out of China.
Well, you heard what I just said,
right? I can tell you I chaired a hearing in the Senate
hear what I just said?
where the expert... so you said... I agree with you now, but you know what?
Now?
The Democratic Party didn't say it then.
I'm not part of the party.
The Democratic Party didn't...
This is one of the first times I've watched Chris Cuomo. I actually kind of like him. Fuck yeah.
Let me ask you one other thing while I have you that I think is almost as important as what you say about when we're shutting down.
I see the appeal.
Because that's in the past. What the president said about the election, Senator, seriously now, I'm happy to joust, but not when it's existential, okay? That's why I come at you about the pandemic, because for me, I don't play politics with it. I'm a little insulted by that, but I'll make it.
You don't play politics. You just only attack Republicans over it. But you're not playing politics.
I have Republicans on all the time who are willing to come back all the time.
You attack Texas, Florida, and Georgia.
No.
Is there anything similar about those states?
Please, Senator, you sound silly. I talk about people and how they're struck in those states all the time. I care about them, and I want...
Those are 3 states that are all in play this election, that Joe Biden might actually turn blue. I mean, Florida is always a swing state, but Texas and Georgia, it's very possible that Biden wins one of those. Maybe both.
I want them to be better, and I don't want them to be sick and go through what I did. So that's why. I do it with...
There's going to be something. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. I'm along for the ride. I'm just a spectator.
Democrats too. I do it with them too. Anybody who's not doing the right thing when it comes to... I talk about the kids in class as a national problem. But let me ask you this. The president has been hinting very strongly that if the election doesn't go his way, it will have to have been fraudulent. And you just heard Tom Friedman and his concerns. If your state and the other states certified their results, as they always do, and say, no, this is it, our count's legit. We'll check as the law allows, but it's legit. And the president says, no, not good enough for me. I don't want a transfer of power. What would you do?
So,
yeah, what would you do, Ted?
Happen. There's going to be a peaceful transfer of power. But let me say something. I wish that the 2 political sides actually had conversations.
Whoa. Over and over and over again in this administration, people have said, no, Trump's not going to do that. Trump's not going to do it. He fucking did it. He's done every fucking thing. There is no reason not to believe that he is not going to throw every legal challenge he can at this election. His lawyers are going to be in the courts on November 4th. Yeah, I was getting ready to get to that. I wanted to address the notion that no, that's not going to happen. It's like fucking Ted Cruz just flippantly disregarded it, moved on to his fucking bullshit. Trump will absolutely be in the courts on November 4th. Can they file something in the middle of the night? They fucking will. For the president, they probably will let him file something in the middle of the fucking night. It's his Justice Department. There's going to be an election. It's the shit that happens afterwards. It's going to be an absolute fucking shit show. Isn't a strong enough word for it. Just atomic fuckery.
Where we listen to each other.
We're going to go pick up Biden here in just a second. He's doing the town hall on NBC.
I have to admit, it was surreal listening to you and Tom Friedman talking about what you think Trump is going to do on the election, because from my perspective, I think it's projection. I think the one that is going to...
You might be absolutely correct on that. That maybe not Trump, but some Trump surrogate, some PAC, some organization on the behalf of Trump will be running ads that he won the election and that was rigged. You are correct. And we are at a very fragile time when we have a lot of dumb fucks like the dude, the I will die for him that we played earlier. You fucking propagandize those motherfuckers with rigged election and shit. And the one thing that gives me comfort is I heard somebody say the other day that there probably won't be a civil war because the people on the right tend to be more well off. They have a lot to lose. It might have been Robert Evans on Worst Year Ever or Behind the Bastards or something, but he was talking about how they have a lot to lose because they live in fucking... They're the suburban Americans with the truck and the boat and shit. Those motherfuckers don't want to be out in the trenches doing warfare. I asked you if you want to do like a simulcast or something. I'm open to whatever ideas. This is gonna be it's gonna be a crazy fucking night. I don't even know what I'm gonna do for election night. I might come on with my stream at the normal time of 8-7 Central, and then go till whenever the fuck I feel like getting off in the middle there. We're probably not going to know who the winner is. I'd say 25% chance Biden. Like, I don't know which states can go ahead and start counting the mail-in votes. That's about what time you guys usually go on the air, isn't it? But I don't know what time. I don't know which states it is that can count the mail-in votes early. That's something I'm going to do a little research on. Figure out which states it is on election night that we could possibly know Joe Biden won, and if there are enough of them that we would know the result of the election. It would take something like a Georgia, or knowing the outcome of North Carolina or Ohio, but I don't know which states can go ahead and start counting mail-in ballots. Some of them can start counting a week before, 2 weeks before. Others have to wait until the day of. But there is a scenario where we could know that Biden is the winner on election night. Oh, you know what? Is it on YouTube? Can I even stream this? Is this it? Okay, yeah. We can stream it.
Did you call the president?
No, I didn't. I inquired whether I should do that, and it was the decision was that would probably be intrusive. But yeah. I'm truly happy that if he appears to be, if things are really moving along like he said, and particularly the First Lady as well, I'm very happy for that.
You have built your campaign around the coronavirus has been your #1 issue. So when you hear that this president was infected with COVID-19, were you surprised?
Quite frankly, I wasn't surprised.
That was ecstatic.
Look, for the last 3 months, 3 times a week, I'm on the telephone and on Zoom with some of the leading immunologists in the nation, and they go through everything that's happening. And so the idea that COVID does not spread in proximity when you don't have a mask on, when you're not socially distancing, when there's large groups of people, when you're inside particularly, but even when you're outside, that's not surprising. And again, we keep forgetting, or we're not talking about it. 210,000 people have died already. And the expectation is if nothing changes, we're going to have another 200,000 dead by the end of the year. That's 400,000 dead, God forbid if that happens. That's more than were killed in 1 year in America than 4 years in World War II.
I want to ask you about the information we've been given on the president's medical condition from his doctors at Walter Reed, also some of the information about his condition from the White House. Do you think that the doctors have been forthcoming, that they've been transparent? Do you trust the assessments we've been hearing?
I'm not going to second guess his doctors. He has some of the best health care in the world. I'm happy it was available to him. It should be available to the President of the United States of America. But the vast majority of Americans, the vast majority of people here in this audience, your cameramen, if God forbid something happened to them, they don't have that access to that care. So it's comparing sort of apples and oranges a little bit.
You were on the debate stage with the president for 90 minutes. You were socially distant, but hearing that he was infected, did you have a moment of pause, of worry, of concern for your own safety?
Very good question, Lester.
Look, I've been fastidious about the social distancing. I've been fastidious.
Fastidious, very good word.
When I'm not socially distanced, and even then remaining socially distanced. And so we never got closer than you and I are right now, as well as when Melania came up on the stage, she smiled and waved. I waved to her, but it was the same distance. Was a little disconcerting to look out and see that his whole section, no one had masks on. When my wife was sitting further down, had a mask on, the people with us had masks on. I didn't quite get that.
You were able to see that from where you were?
Yes, when they came in, yes. Because I was standing.
Jamie Harrison in South Carolina brought his own plexiglass to put between he and Lindsey Graham. Because I don't blame him. Fucking, I'd be scared to death of these dumbass Republicans.
That you would be forthcoming.
Yes,
the
but
American
look,
people?
I can understand there can be certain circumstances relating to national security where every detail would not be made available in the middle of a particular crisis. And the overall question of whether or not I'd be transparent about whether or not I had a serious problem or what treatment I got. Yes, but sometimes for a president that would come after the fact. So I'm not being critical of the fact that every single detail was not released. There is the HIPAA rules, they even apply to president, but they have consequences for a president beyond the rules relating to what is able to be done and not done without a patient's permission. They have national security implications as well.
So that is to say that you wouldn't, some things you think would be okay to hold back?
Well, only on the margins and only for the moment. In other words, I can't imagine, you know, other presidents have been through it. I was there when Ronald Reagan was shot. He was transparent, but they didn't go into every single detail precisely. And that's one of my buddies going on by it. But all kidding aside, so I think on balance, you have to tell the whole truth of what had happened, what was happening, and what's going on. But as moment to moment, I'm not sure that is an absolute requirement. But you cannot mislead about certain things, and I'm not saying they have. If, in fact, the president had, in fact, contracted the virus and knew it before.
They have. They absolutely have.
Encounters and was not wearing a mask, that's a different thing. Yeah, one more question to this before we move on and hear from some of the voters. A recent poll said 65% of Americans.
There is debate about whether he knew he was positive on Thursday afternoon. I saw a story that said that he had taken a rapid test that said he was positive and that he was awaiting the results of a second test when he went on Sean Hannity. I've seen stories that said that it was Wednesday that he knew and that he was actually positive before Hope Hicks. But that was based on the doctor who they said misspoke. We don't know what the fuck is going on.
Taking responsibility that in fact they should be held responsible for. Because every major scientist and doctor and immunologist has said that's a very dangerous thing to do. The particles and droplets can stay in the air for a long time, longer than they thought. It can go beyond 10 feet. There's all kinds of things they've learned and know. And look, I view wearing this mask not so much protecting me, but as a patriotic responsibility. All the tough guys say, I'm not wearing a mask, I'm not afraid. Well, be afraid for your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter, your neighbor, your coworker. That's who you're protecting having this mask on. And it should be viewed as a patriotic duty to protect those around you.
You ready to hear from some voters now?
Sure.
All right, let's bring up, first of all, Vanessa Tamaris. Vanessa, nice to see you.
Here we go. This is a good part.
Thank you for being with us. What's your question for the Vice President?
Hi, Vice President Biden. Sorry, I'm a little nervous here.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Thank you, sir. Vice President Biden, I work in Miami as a pediatric nurse. And since the beginning of this pandemic, the government has been dysfunctional and disorganized in their response.
Can't hear, Lester.
Can't hear.
Miami-Dade County leads.
We went through his Twitter and looked at like several of the tweets, didn't we? Was there something I missed? Was there an interesting one?
Cases of children. Another larger wave is expected this fall, sir.
Yes.
Can you tell us what the Biden-Harris federal response plan is that would unite our country in fighting this pandemic and also any other future pandemics that may arise?
Were you able to hear
Thank
okay?
You, sir.
I can hear part of it. I'm sorry. The television in front of you, and I didn't catch the front.
Yeah, no, we got the traffic. I mean, the meat of her question is another.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what Trump has to say here. God, where'd I put it?
Medical equipment we have. I just left Walter Reed Medical Center, and it's really something very special. The doctors, the nurses, the first responders, and I learned so much.
See, I knew. I called it when we saw the helicopter land. I'm like, they have those flags set up for a reason.
About coronavirus, and one thing that's for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. We have the best medicines.
What's wrong with his eye? His eye is fucked up. It's that way the whole way, isn't it? Did he have a stroke again? Has he been like that? Had I not noticed it? I'm not smoking crack, right? You guys see that.
I just left Walter Reed Medical Center, and it's really something very special. The doctors, the nurses, the first responders, and I learned so much about coronavirus. And one thing that's for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. We have the best medicines, all developed recently. And you're going to beat it. I didn't feel so good. And 2 days ago, I could have left 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I felt great, like better than I have in a long time. I said just recently, better than 20 years ago.
2 days ago was Saturday. He went in like Friday night.
Don't let it dominate. Don't let it take over your lives. Don't let that happen. We have the greatest country in the world. We're going back. We're going back to work. We're going to be out front. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. I stood out front. I led.
Okay, so what all this is telling me is that this motherfucker is actually in control. The thing that the Trump administration has proven to me that scares me more than anything is how much power that the actual president has. There is no deep state apparatus. There are no adults in the room with this motherfucker. It was his decision to go outside, I'm sure directly against doctor's orders. I'm sure it was his decision to come back to the White House. I bet they wanted to keep him all week. I would bet money that he is on a steroid high right now, and that's the only reason he fucking feels good. There is something wrong with that mother. Look at his fucking eye. Scares the fuck out of me. And I would hope that this is something that I could come to some fucking consensus with some right-wingers on. You're supposed to be for fucking small government. The president is too fucking powerful. He is too motherfucking powerful.
Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune, I don't know. But don't let it dominate your lives. Get out there, be careful. We have the best medicines in the world, and it all happened very shortly, and they're all getting approved, and the vaccines are coming momentarily. Thank you very much, and Walter Reed, what a group of people. Thank you very much.
Maybe he's immune. That was batshit. He has risen. I didn't get the chance to look it up and find out what the source was, but I saw somewhere on Twitter that apparently he said multiple times to doctors, "Am I going to die? Am I going to die? Am I going to die?" I mean, I can hear it in my head, but I don't know that it was true. I don't know if it came from a reputable source. I was going to try to look it up and I didn't get around to it because, you know, I came on an hour and a half early because shit's happening. God damn.
We have to.
All right.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Our next question comes from Brian Smith. He's a recently unemployed flight attendant who started an online support group.
I know Brian Smith.
Laid off airline workers.
I don't know that, Brian Smith.
Thank you, sir, for having me here and taking my question. I am one of over 8,000 flight attendants that American Airlines had to furlough this past weekend. And my question to you is, if you're elected president, what will you do to restore the travel and tourism industry, to get it back on its feet and
Well, you get the virus under control first, motherfucker. You should be asking about a stimmy.
Well, look, my best friend, I'm a lucky man. I married into a family with 5 daughters. That means that one of them always loves you, not the same one. Even when your wife's mad, there's always one with you. One of my sister-in-law is an attendant, and she's been for a long, long time, facing the same kind of thing you're facing. We could have, in fact, already solved that problem. The Congress passed the legislation to provide the money to keep the airlines up and running and to provide for the kinds of ways in which you can sanitize that aircraft, make sure everyone has on a mask. For example, recently, the Department of Transportation turned down a request from bus drivers and mass transit people and you guys of saying everybody who get in a plane has to have a mask on. If they don't have a mask on, then they can't get in the plane. What are we doing? Do you feel comfortable being being an attendant and people getting on a crowded plane or not a crowded plane with no mask? You don't. It's just to protect you, protect one another.
I wouldn't get on a plane unless it was absolutely fucking necessary because you know about fucking recirculated air and shit.
In the lurch. Look, the president, and he should, got great medical care. But that's why I'm arguing from the very beginning of this. Everyone who contracts COVID should have their bills paid for. Let
me correct that for you. Everyone should have their bills paid for. Medical bills should not be a thing. They're only a thing in the United States, and it's fucking stupid that it is.
Employer-based insurance or COBRA-based insurance, 10 million. And they're in court trying to do away with another 20 million who already get it through Obamacare. And in addition to that, 100 million people with pre-existing conditions. You know people who've had COVID. I hope it'd be wonderful you didn't. But if you do, you know you end up with heart problems and lung scarring. They become pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, he didn't say that right at all.
There's a lot of things we can do. But guess what, folks? If we can spend money giving tax breaks for racehorse, we can give tax breaks for the kinds of things we're out there doing, 3 martini lunch. God almighty, why can't we, in fact, give a tax break for people, a free access to health care if you're in the middle of a COVID crisis?
All right, thank you. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more questions from our voters.
Why can't we just do single-payer health care and then we don't have to worry about fucking tax breaks? We don't have to fucking deduct shit. We don't have to talk with fucking insurance companies. I had an argument with a guy the other day. He's just fucking talking nonsense. I'm like, why do you want a middleman? I think I made the analogy on the show. If you go buy pot, you don't want somebody in between you and the pot dealer, because that person in between you and the pot dealer, he's going to, first of all, he's going to tell you it's $50 when it's actually $40. So he gets $10 up front. Then he's going to tip your sack on the backside. He's going to take a little bud from you. You don't want a middleman buying your pot. Therefore, you do not want a middleman providing you insurance. What you want is taxpayer-funded insurance. Not the medical industry. The medical industry stays the same. We're just talking about doing away with the insurance industry. So then we as the people become our own insurers. Insurance is always cheapest when everybody is in the pool. The more people that are in the pool, the more dispersed the risk is. This is simple economics. You can't tell that to fucking right-wingers, though. The rebut to me saying all that, very reasonable, and then showing him that 22 studies show that single payer will save us money. His response to that was, well, before Obamacare, I had a Cadillac plan, and now I don't. I'm like, just shut the fuck up. I don't give a shit. I don't care about your like perception of what you have and what you don't have, or the reason why you don't have it. I'm presenting you hard data. I don't want your fucking personal experience. I don't know if you're even telling me the truth about your fucking personal experience, or that you know about your personal experience. Obamacare actually curbed the rate of premium increase. Premiums did not go up as much as they went up pre-Obamacare. Now, it wasn't a lot, but at least it stopped it from just fucking exponentially going up. It curved it somewhat. Curbed it somewhat. But most people don't even realize that. Now, if you can curb the rate of premium increase, provide people with no more lifetime coverage bans, no more pre-existing conditions, students can stay on their health insurance up until they're 26. Shit everybody fucking likes. And you can give insurance to 20 to 30 million more people that didn't have it before. That's a win-win-win-win for everybody. Obamacare was better than what we had. Do you know what was better than Obamacare? Fucking single payer. Because then we don't even have to worry about fucking bills. You shouldn't have to fight with an insurance company, and I do not know why any single person in this country would advocate for a system where they have to fight in order to get an insurance company to pay out their fucking claim. Because that's what happens when you have private insurance.
Watching the debate, I noticed that President Trump was bullying you, and I'm worried that it knocked you off your game. How do I know that you're able to forcefully lead this country moving forward?
He did pretty good. I don't know what she's talking about.
We're seeing the challenges and other bullies.
Well, I'm used to bullies. I used to stutter when I was a kid. I learned how to fight. I got a nickname. They called me Shoe Leather. I was little, but they could beat me up, and I hurt them in the process. Look, I was surprised to learn that
the name stuck with him. He's still called Shoe Leather, but for different reasons.
Debate we had, and it was just very difficult to. I didn't want to further demean the process of the debate by getting in a shouting match with him on the one hand, and I tried very hard, if you notice, to look in the camera and answer the questions directly, but they kept getting banged. I hope this next meeting we're going to have, it's a debate, but a town meeting we're going to have supposedly coming up, that I hope we at least have an opportunity to hear the question and answer the question directly before there's an interruption. But
now it looks like the Trump campaign has turned down the idea of doing that debate virtually, so we'll actually see what happens. I wouldn't want to be on the debate stage with him.
President Biden, it was an ugly debate. And
absolutely.
It hit some lows. You called him a clown, a fool. You told him to shut up. I think most people believe that the president was interrupting you.
Well deservedly.
Against some of the language you've said about, not being divisive. Well, do you regret any part on your part?
It did, and I was trying to figure out how I could possibly have him respect the debate, respect the evening, respect the moderator, and get us an opportunity to speak. The one thing that became absolutely clear, he didn't want to answer any questions. He did not want to talk about substance, if you notice.
Chris Christie told him to keep interrupting Biden because interrupting somebody with a stutter throws them off. It was an actual tactic they employed.
It's all things that have nothing to do with whether they're going to change these people's lives for the better. And I did get very frustrated. And I should have said this is a clownish undertaking instead of calling him a clown. But the fact is, it was...
well, he is a clown.
I'll be very honest with you. I think it was embarrassing for the nation to see the President of the United States just hectoring like he did, and everything was about a personal attack.
Yeah, but to the point of the question, though, you're going to be meeting with world leaders who are going to get under your skin,
I've dealt with more world leaders than he has, went from face to face over 8 years. And I've gotten under my skin, and we've had very quiet conversations. I told President Putin exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit, Lester.
He knows it. We looked eye to eye. We know what's going on. I've made the same assessment to Milosevic. I've had the same kinds of conversations across the board. You can look back on all those international meetings I have.
That's what the fuck, Lester? Lester knows that. Like, holy shit. How, like, come on, young man. Are you going to be able to handle those world leaders? What the fuck? It's Joe Biden.
Registered Republican, but voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Her husband is in the crowd, I believe. What's your question?
Good evening, Mr. Vice President. As a mother of a police officer and the wife of a retired police officer, served 28 years, the term defunding the police is of concern and troubling. I understand that police departments do need reform.
Why are you asking Joe Biden about it? He wants to fucking fund him more. What the fuck?
With that being said, I would like to know what you and your administration's policies in reforming the police, how those will come about, how they will be best handled to ensure police officer safety and the public's and the citizens' safety as well.
I grew up in a neighborhood where the guys I grew up in my working class neighborhood either became cops, firefighters, or priests. I wasn't qualified to be any one of them. I have had overwhelming support from police my whole career up until this year, as your husband will tell you. The vast, vast, vast majority of police are honorable, decent men and women who risk their lives every single day.
That's not true.
Out that door. They have a right to come home safely. But there's bad apples in every profession. There are lousy commentators, there are lousy presidents, there's lousy senators, docs, and they should be inside.
That's a good line.
I can think of, I don't know any police department around that isn't happy to get rid of a lousy cop because it just reflects on them. And by the way, the same with the protesters.
All of them. All of them. It's called the Blue Code. Look it up.
Like something on fire. Once you engage in violence, you should be arrested and held accountable. And I've never had a position different than that from the very beginning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do what I've done in the past. I'm going to bring all these interests together. Peaceful protesters, police chiefs, police officers, the police unions, as well as the civil rights groups in the White House. And sit down and decide what are the things that need to be done to improve and help police officers. I'm the only one who's talked about increasing police budgets. When your husband goes on a call that in fact is a 911 call, it's better if he or she has with them a psychologist or psychiatrist with them, someone who knows how to deal with someone who is not all there. And so there's a lot of things we should be doing. And in addition to that, I also am proposing that we spend significantly more money on community policing. The reason it worked, my son used to be an attorney general of the state of Delaware. The idea is you get the police, you get the law enforcement together with the community so they know one another. Because that kid walking across the street with a hoodie on may be the next poet laureate. It doesn't mean that child is going to be in trouble. And so we got to make sure there's more communication. That's what I'm going to do as president, bring together a national commission sitting in the White House with me and working this out.
All right, our next question is from Nicole Maddox. She is an undecided voter. Nicole, what's your question?
Hello, Vice President Biden. So as an African-American female, I have never lived through what I'm living through right now. And at times I don't feel safe in this country. And so
that is a super cool mask.
What would you do to stop extremist and white supremacist groups?
Stop what, I'm sorry?
White supremacist groups. And what would be your approach to police reform to ensure that people who look like me and my family
wasn't that the last question?
Number one, the president's own FBI chief has said, director, the greatest domestic threat to terrorism are white supremacists. White supremacists. And when you have a president saying to one particular group of white supremacists that in fact stand down but stand by, that is like a clarion call to get ready. Get ready. It's totally, totally inappropriate. These guys are driving me crazy. I love them, but I can't see when they walk by. But all kidding aside, here's the deal.
Who's he talking about? What?
That police have, when we interview police for the job, that there's a more thorough interview process. There's more background checking being done and attitudes. It matters. The cops are like kind of like school teachers. Everything lands on their desk, no matter what it is. Whether it's a child that's in trouble on the street, or whether it's somebody who has a mental problem, or someone who's robbing a bank. And you can't expect them to have...
We put way too much responsibility in the laps of cops. Oh, the cameraman threw him off? Fuck, Joe, you've been doing this for years.
In the meantime, what we have to do is make sure there is, quote, it sounds, all the tough guys are going to say it's a silly word, sensitivity training, understanding other cultures, know what people are like, what they're thinking about, how they act, what is consistent with the culture that they're from. It's important we know that. We're a nation of immigrants. We're a nation that's so diverse. And it's very difficult to make sure police officers are trained enough to be able to know what to expect in a community. But the biggest thing we have to do is make sure that they learn to deal with diminishing the kind of force that they use. What is the minimum force required in order to be able to deal with whatever the situation is? It's about diminishing the prospect of use of excessive force. It's about eliminating some things totally, like chokeholds. It's about making sure that no-knock warrants are changed so people know what's going on. There's a whole range of things we can do. The commission that President Obama and I set up early on was in the process of doing that until this president got elected. And what happened was, if you notice, there has been sort of a dog whistle out there. That is that everything's about division and hate. The reason I decided to run for office, I hadn't planned on running again. I give you my word, after my son passed, I wasn't going to run again.
I wish you hadn't. I wish you hadn't, sir.
In Charlottesville, screeching that, if you close your eyes, remember what you saw. Their veins bulging, preaching anti-Semitic hate, the same exact language used in Germany in the 30s, accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. And when a young woman was innocently killed, what was the question asked of the president? What do you think? He said there are very fine people on both sides. No president has ever said anything remotely like that.
It was an explicit white supremacist rally. There was no both sides bullshit. It was a white supremacist rally.
You know, working in government.
It was organized by a neo-Nazi group.
Able to accomplish those things then.
Yes, I wasn't president.
He points out to the criminal justice reform bill, and you and Barack Obama served at a time when you had both houses of Congress and still couldn't get some of these things done.
Yeah, we did. We let 18,000 people got clemency. He got 2 or 3. What he's talking about. We had the violent crime rate was down 15% in our administration.
That is true.
15% down. You didn't see these white supremacists rising up. Look, one thing I learned a long time ago, I got involved because of this.
That's not true. You didn't see them. They were under the surface. They've been there. I saw them.
Making myself out to be a great civil rights leader, but that's how I got involved in politics. And one of the interesting things was that I came back from Wilmington after my city was burned. 20% of it was burned to the ground when Dr. King was assassinated. And I had a job with a very prestigious law firm. But we were the only city in America since the Civil War occupied by the National Guard with drawn bayonets for 10 months. And after I got admitted to the bar, I decided I couldn't do this. I quit and became a public defender. And I remember going down to, if you ride the Northeast Corridor, you go from Washington to New York, you go by the Wilmington station. I used to have to interview my clients down there before their arraignment. And what would happen is that I found that I thought that black and whites would never get together again.
I don't know about this story he's telling.
It was almost 40 years later to the month in January of 2009, waiting for a train to come from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, carrying a black man, about to pick me up to take me 147 miles to Washington, D.C. to be sworn in as president and vice president. And I called this is God's truth. I called my 3 kids up. One's a social worker, one was running the World Food Program USA, the largest in the world, and my other son was the Attorney General. And I was standing on the platform. I looked over the east side, which had just been leveled, and what they call the 3rd Street Bridge had been burned. And I said, look, guys, I said, don't tell me things can't change. Look what's happened. When I stood here 40 years ago to the month, that was burned to the ground. Now look at it. Look at it. And I talked about there's hope. But I made a big mistake. I didn't realize that you can't defeat hate. Hate only hides. It hides under the rocks. And when you give it oxygen, when you breathe into it, you bring out the worst of people and you legitimize them. That's what's happened. We've legitimized these people who are engaged in hate based on race and color and religion. And it's wrong. And the way we have to deal with it is we have to make sure that we equip every agency, federal, state, and local agency, with the tools that are going to be bringing people together.
Vice President Biden on that note.
I'm sure some good old-fashioned fascism will fix this problem. The problem that we have is that the entire country is built on a system of white supremacy. Our prison system, so much of our country is selling people things that should just be given to them, or making money off of taking away people's rights. I am against for-profit education. I'm against for-profit prisons. I don't think there should be for-profit water systems. I don't think there should be for-profit electric companies. Now, I know a lot of them are run as like quasi-cooperative bullshit. They're still fucking private entities. And I'm all for shrinking the government. Let's get rid of cops. Let's get rid of the FBI, the CIA, the NSA. Let's stop spying on Americans all the fucking time. Let's stop bombing the fucking school children over in the Middle East for no goddamn reason. These should be principles that right-wingers can agree with me on. They never do. When they talk about cutting the government, it's always like the EPA and the education department. I'm sorry, no. Went around in circles with a dude the other day. I'm like, he's like 50, 60 years old. I was like, you were alive when the rivers were on fire in this country. And he was like, well, the state agencies would be able to handle it. And I was like, no, they fucking couldn't. That's why we had to invent the EPA. The rivers were on fire when I was young. When I was like 4, 5, 6, 7. The big worry was acid fucking rain from the pollution we're putting up in the sky. Regulation fixed that shit. The rivers don't fucking catch on fire anymore. And I'm not fucking exaggerating. The rivers. We were pumping so much fucking raw sewage and chemicals into the rivers, they were catching on fire. This was up in like Michigan and Ohio and shit, and all these industrial areas. When I was a kid, we had a hole in the ozone layer, and we banned fucking the aerosol spray hairspray. It quit growing at the alarming rate that it was growing at. There were other things we banned. It wasn't just the hairspray. But this shit takes collectivism. Oligarchs want to make sure that you don't use collectivism to fuck them up.
What are your plans to ensure that schools are safe for teachers as well as students in the middle of this pandemic?
Number one, depending on the circumstance in terms of the readmission rate, the transmission rate in your community, that would have a lot to do whether the school should open at all, whether the chance should be taken. That's what all the senior doctors and immunologists say. So if you have a high rate of the spread of
everybody should stay home. This is just this year. It's over.
If you're at a place where
Stop
it's less than under 1, then in fact it's possible to open. but you have to open safely, and it requires 4 things. It requires making sure that you as a teacher, my wife as a teacher, has the PPE to be able to open safely so your health is in good shape, that because children can communicate the disease as well as contract it, number 1. Number 2, you have to be in a position where the children are able to be in smaller modules. That requires more teachers or spreading out students in a way that you don't have large groups of, if you have a class of 25, you end up having 2 classes of 12, for example. So you have smaller groups. Number 3, that the sanitation capacity in this school is upgraded so you're able to keep everything from the laboratories to the hallways to the surfaces clean, and they're able to be done. And thirdly, fourthly, to make sure that you're in a situation where there is a circumstance that you know that there is not overcrowding in the school so that you have enough teachers, as I said, to make sure that you can spread them out, spread out the children. When that is done, then you can...
We shouldn't even be attempting any of this shit right now. Just keep everybody fucking home so we can stop the fucking spread and pay people to stay home.
Scientists in the country as to how to safely open. Because what people are worried about, they're worried about...
You can't safely open when it's still spreading like a fucking wildfire through the fucking country.
Pop or grandmom or the older member of the family and them getting very sick. And right now, we haven't even done, in the vaccines, there's not even been any experimentation done on testing children for a vaccine yet. That's a different issue. But in the meantime, you can open safely, limit class size, make sure the hallways are open in ways that they're not crowded, everybody wearing a mask, social distancing, ventilation taken care of in the schools.
I don't know about you guys, but my hallways when I was in high school, they were like cinder blocks and really fucking narrow. I don't know how do you change that?
Thank you for your question. Our next one comes from...
What's his proposal for that?
For the first time in 2016. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
Hey, Cassie.
Hello, Mr. Biden. My youngest sister is in high school right now, and I knew whenever I was graduating high school and entering college that I wanted to obtain my degree and start a career before starting a family. Having access to birth control and safe reproductive health care was imperative in making that.
I was wondering where she's going there.
So, considering the new Supreme Court nomination of Amy Coney Barrett, what are your particular plans to
I think Joe was the same way. Oh, that's where she was going.
Number 1, we don't know exactly what she will do, although the expectation is that she may very well move to overrule Roe. But the only responsible response to that would be to pass legislation making Roe the law of the land. That's what I would do.
All right, we will take a short break, and we've got more questions for you, Mr. Vice
wow.
President, as we continue our...
I feel like they just came back from break. It's not just Roe. The conservative justices, they're chomping at the bit. Thomas and Alito, they want to get rid of the Obergefell decision. If you've tuned into the show, I'm really bad with names. The Obergefell, the decision that legalized gay marriage, lashed out at the religious liberty implications. What the fuck religious liberty implications are there? I don't know what that means. Religious liberty doesn't mean that you have the right to deny other people anything. Our rights are laid out as negative rights in the government. What the government can't do to you. And it's the government's place to step in and say that the religion can't fucking trample your rights. enables courts and the governments to brand religious adherents who believe that marriages between one man and one woman is bigots, making their religious liberty concerns that much easier to dismiss. What fucking concerns? You are fucking bigots. I can't fucking stand Christians, man. Like, I'm getting ready. I'm working on a video right now about the Freedom from Religion Foundation sued over a prayer in schools. I'm going to lay out all the reasons why prayer in school is bad. But then at the end of it, I'm going to point out that even the Bible says pray in fucking private and not in public like the hypocrites. It's almost like these dumb fucks haven't even read the book they profess to believe in. But hey, what do I expect? Right-wingers are fucking morons. Where'd our Biden go to? I lost him. What the fuck? I'm sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. That's the problem with having fucking 7 screens in front of you.
Who voted for Hillary Clinton 4 years ago but has voted Republican in the past. What's your question for Mr. Biden?
Hi, Mr. Vice President. So you talked a lot about unity and...
So he voted Republican then, too, because fucking what do you think Hillary Clinton is?
That goes way beyond disagreeing with policy or whether you've made the right decision or not. It's either you're with me or you're against me. The role of president, in my opinion, should be to unify as much as possible. So what 3 actions will you take as president to get us back to being one country versus several little, fiefdoms that are trying to yell each other about who's wrong and right?
Well, first of all, there's no reason why you
He's not
should
wrong
know,
there.
But I think, I'm not asking Lester to confirm, but he's heard, my entire career, I've been able to bring Democrats and Republicans together. And now people say, well, that was the old days, Joe. Things have changed. Well, the only thing that's changed is the way in which the politics that has been moved by some in the party have just gotten really ugly. I think what happens is, I think when people see, if in fact I'm fortunate enough to win.
Was he talking about his party? Is in the Democratic Party?
To go after and hold anyone accountable who disagrees with him, like he did to his former attorney general down in Alabama when I campaigned against him when he left the office. People are going to be less unwilling to compromise, number one. Number two, I think if you take a look at what I learned a long time ago is that it's always appropriate to question another man or woman's judgment. It's never appropriate to question their motive. I learned that lesson very early on.
Speaking of senators from Alabama, I would tell you that donating $20 to that man right there will do more to help democracy than any vote for Joe Biden. This is going to be a tight race. Doug Jones in Alabama. Give that man $3, $10, whatever you can fucking spare. Because if the Democrats are going to take the Senate, then Doug Jones keeping that seat and not dumbass Tommy Tuberville, who used to be the coach at Auburn, who does not know his ass from a hole in the ground.
Gold arched door you walk through to go down.
That's one of the things that I want to do during my stream is highlight other Senate races too. Jamie Harrison in South Carolina. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
Went home every night to see my kids. There was a senator who was excoriating 2 people who became very close friends of mine, Bob Dole and Teddy Kennedy. They had introduced the precursor for the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I thought it was heartless. So anyway, I was more afraid of missing my meeting with the leaders, so I went in, sat down in front of him. This was last week in May, and I'd already figured out why I was seeing him. And he looked at me and said, "What's the matter, Joe?" And I went on and I said this particular senator had no social redeeming value. How could he be so heartless? How could he not care about people? How could he say a curb cut was inappropriate to have, that buses had to have lifts, et cetera? He looked at me and said, Joe, what would you say if I told you that same senator and his wife 2 years ago were reading the paper in their hometown? There's a picture of a young man in braces from under his arms down to his ankles and 2 steel crutches, 14 years old, saying, all I want for Christmas is someone to love me and take me home. So what would you say if I told you they adopted that young man?
But you know, I don't think you got to the heart of Ismail's question, which is something tangible, something you can do as a new president.
I learned from him. He said it's always appropriate to question another man's judgment, but not their motive. Once you question a senator's motive, you can never get anything done. I say, you're in the pocket of the cement industry. Let's see if we can get a transportation bill passed. It doesn't work. And that's why look, when President Trump had already been elected.
Oh, you, one of the most paid for and bought senators ever in the history of the Senate, have a problem with people calling out being bought and paid for, eh? Huh, wouldn't have guessed that. Huh, that makes no sense. Huh, I'm so shocked.
House members. 398 House members voted for it, and 96 senators voted for it. My point is, you stop questioning motive. You go out and you debate the issues, because we've all gotten down to the point where everything is about attacking the integrity of the other person. And the last thing I would do is make sure that we, in fact, I reached out constantly, which I did as vice president and as a chairman of a committees, foreign relations and judiciary committee.
Your little plan, Joe, like it hinges on the fact that the other side has to have some sort of conscience or some morality that you can draw from. They don't. They don't care.
Every president has pulled us together, has said, this is what I'm thinking of, and gone to Republican senators and Democratic senators and said, what do you think? You put together amendment. You put together coalitions. That's how you deal in a democracy.
All right. Peter Gonzalez has next question.
Welcome to Miami, Mr. Vice President. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut. I was raised in Hialeah, Florida, and I've been living in Coral Gables for the last 20-plus years. Cuban American and Venezuelan voters here in South Florida are being targeted with messages by the Trump campaign claiming that a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for the radical left and socialism and even communism. What can you tell people in my family, my friends, who are understandably concerned with that issue, that would make them feel comfortable voting?
I would say that what I just said before is that Joe Biden is the most bought and paid for senator in the history of the Senate. And that here we're going to attack
20-some candidates. Joe Biden was too centrist, too moderate, too straightforward. That was Joe Biden. I have taken on the very people that, in fact, we're worried about. I've taken on the Castros of the world. I've taken on the Putins of the world. I've taken on all these dictators. I haven't cozied up to them. I'm the guy that's been straightforward with them. I'm the guy that's let them know it stops here. It stops with me. It stops with me as president. I am no more a socialist or a communist than Donald Trump is. Well, I won't say it. Anyway. So they need not worry. Just look at the record. There's not one single syllable that I
That'd be a fun game, trying to figure out what he was going to say there.
That I was a socialist or a communist.
All right, we've got time for, I think, one more questioner. Mateo Gomez joins us now. First-time voter, came to the U.S. from Colombia at age 2. Welcome.
Spent a lot of time in Colombia.
Thank you, Lester, for the introduction. Vice President Biden, thank you so much for coming to Miami and speaking to us today.
Where was the guy that was asking me about cocaine earlier? Joe Biden just said he spent a lot of time in Colombia.
Myself. My generation, Generation Z, is growing up with school shootings, police brutality and protests, and the inability to earn a livable wage, even when holding advanced degrees like myself. How can someone like yourself, an older white male, represent my generation over the next 4 years? And please, Vice President Biden, can you guarantee me that the American dream still exists?
We've got about 90 seconds.
I'll get to the end. I guarantee it still exists. Number one. Look, with age comes wisdom, hopefully.
I don't think it ever existed.
I've watched. I'm the guy that's talked about when the 9/11.
Remember, George Carlin said they called it the American Dream because you had to be asleep to believe it.
5 years about how your generation, my granddaughter just graduated with honors from Columbia Law School, in fact, is having trouble. The fact that I have 2 granddaughters that are in school, in college, and 2 more children who are in high school. They, in fact, your generation has been really put behind the 8 ball. You get all these degrees, you end up with all this debt, and you're in a position where you can't get a job because no one's hiring, or if they're hiring at very low wages. And so what we have to do is we have to make sure that you get the opportunity. That's why I'm going to eliminate a lot of your student debt if you, in fact, if you come from a family less than 125 grand and you went to a public university. I'm going to make sure that everybody in this generation gets $10,000 knocked off of their student debt as we try to get out of this god-awful pandemic. I'm going to make sure that
that's going to help so much.
Are consistent with, for example, if you're a first-home home buyer, you haven't even had the opportunity to gain enough income to be able to have a down payment. The first-term home buyers are going to get $15,000 credit to be able to buy their first home, because that's how people accumulate wealth. That's how they get started. That's how they move. We're going to make sure we recognize you, advance you, and make sure that you, look, my children, my grandchildren, you are the future. You are the future. I owe, as I said, for example, I made the comment that I view myself as a transitional president. They meant, is that one term? It's transition to your generation. You're the best educated. You're the most open. You're the least prejudiced generation in American history. The future is yours, and I'm counting on you.
Mr. Vice President, thank you. That is going to conclude tonight our town hall.
He's actually talking about my generation. It was Gen Z. You're talking about handing it over to millennials. What do you mean, David? There are at least 8 people in here right now. The chat's been very hopping tonight. Oh, you trolls? Well, dude, try your best, man. 917-830-4359 if you'd like to call in and talk with me. Poke away, man. Come on. You want to give us a call? I haven't checked the phones. Phone lines are open, 917-830-4359. I'm going long tonight. I've been on the air an hour and a half longer than I usually am. I'm going to keep going because I didn't get to all this stuff for the regular show. My channel is about making fun of right-wingers because right-wingers are morons. Prove me wrong. I dare you. I'm on 15 platforms. I take calls, uncensored, unedited. Any and all comers, any topic. I challenge anybody. That's what this show is about, my friend. Glad to have you with us. So, my show was really well laid out and everything kind of flowed into everything else, but, you know, we did the Joe Biden town hall, so we got a little sidetracked here. But we were talking about the Trump COVID and heading back to the White House and all that good shit. And Joe Biden was talking about schools and getting back to school safely. Oh, you thought I was on the right? I have a Carl Sagan shirt on. And I make fucking sense. I'm not on the right. If you're a liberal, you and I would probably butt heads. I'm a leftist. I'm the real deal. But Joe Biden was talking about opening everything, opening the schools back up, doing it safely. There's no way to do this shit safely. You have to control the spread. And like even the NFL is finding it out the hard way.
As new infections have caused the NFL to shuffle their schedule for a second time in a week, and with new questions about whether the league is doing enough. Here's ABC's Janae.
Because who didn't see that coming?
Hey, Norman.
Tonight, COVID-19 infecting the NFL, shuffling week 4 of the league's schedule as more players test positive.
I mean, for God's sakes, UFC has a fucking island, and they haven't been able to contain it. Now, apparently the NBA is doing pretty well, but they're in like a complete bubble or some shit. Nobody gets in or out. So, yeah, if you do it that way, then sure, you're going to be able to do it. But unless you put everybody into a fucking bubble, you're just going to have to shut shit down. And we need to pay people to stay the fuck home. Well, I mean, not these guys. These guys don't need to get paid to stay home. And they've got plenty of opportunity to make money doing cameos, fucking Twitch streaming, fucking do like NASCAR did and stream some fucking stream yourself playing Madden and shit. You make all kinds of money doing that shit.
Positive for the coronavirus.
I think the league needs to look at possibly abbreviating the schedule down to 14 games. But I do believe bubbling in the playoffs is a reality.
Sunday's scheduled New England Patriots game.
There's no way. It's been a couple of months. They had a few fighters. Like, it was when they first started. I think it was actually before they moved to the island, to be honest with you. The one dude actually like went out, like went to fucking like get some food and shit. I think it was in Miami, actually. It was their first fight back. They had a big outbreak. But I think since they've gone to the island, if they're in the bubble in the island, they're fine. I haven't watched it in a while, but like the next card coming up is supposed to be really, really good. I think it's on the 21st or 22nd, I think. I'll totally check that one out.
Game against the Kansas City Chiefs moved to Monday following positive COVID tests on both teams, including quarterback Cam Newton. The Patriots saying in a statement that other players and staff who have been in close contact with Newton received point-of-care tests this morning, and all were negative.
So I don't understand how... Okay, so you've got the quarterback, like they're all in close contact. Like, how do you have one person on the team and not have to fucking quarantine the entire team? Okay, maybe I was being hyperbolic when I said outbreak. But I thought that one dude, like there was a dude that left the fucking, like they had like a quarantine zone around the arena, and one dude like left and went and got some food or some shit. Went to a CVS and stuff, I think. But as I said, it's been a while, and I'm also, you know, a stoner. I misremember things a lot. Also, I've been paying attention to UFC. So it was just one guy? Like it wasn't like his team and trainer and shit? So that was my bad. I misspoke.
Negative for COVID-19. This just days after the Pittsburgh Steelers game against the Tennessee Titans was rescheduled for October 25th after an outbreak within the Titans organization. The Associated Press reporting at least 20 people testing positive, about half of them players. And New Orleans Saints fullback Michael Burton now cleared after what's believed to have been a false positive test Saturday.
They basically have to coexist with something.
So I don't understand how are the Titans going to play at all for at least 2 weeks, right? Doesn't the whole team have to quarantine?
That has been utterly predictable, which is that COVID would impact the league as the season wore on.
And the NFL is doing extensive
utterly
testing. And
predictable. Donald Trump getting COVID was utterly predictable. Everything that has happened in this country has been utterly predictable. Back when this first fucking started, I remember I had an argument with a guy, And I was like, we're going to see 1,000 deaths a day, like next week. He's like, you don't know that. And I'm like, absolutely. All you have to do is extrapolate the data and see. Because this is like, we had like 300 deaths a day or 400 deaths a day at the time. Like, it's like 1,000 deaths a week, whatever the fucking number was, because I just did the math. And I was right. I called it like to the exact day. Because it was just, at that point, it was just fucking extrapolating what the fucking... I'm not good at math, so fucking... I don't remember. There was like it was growing at a very predictable rate. Utterly predictable. Everything about this has been utterly fucking predictable. Including the Republicans trying to ram through a fucking Supreme Court nominee while they're still having an out, but there's 3 fucking senators out. Ho! That was loud as fuck. Ads suck. Fuck you, Hill. That's a lot of ads. Utterly predictable that the Republicans would try to pull some underhanded tactics and ram through a Supreme Court nominee. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit, not even like call it, it's not really underhanded. It's absolutely constitutional. It's hypocritical because of what they did in 2016. And it's also the exact opposite of what we, the people, are actually asking for of our elected representatives. 74% of voters want the Senate to take on a COVID-19 relief bill before the SCOTUS nominee. They work for us. 74%. 74% of Americans don't agree on hardly fucking shit. But even though 74% of the American public wants a COVID bill, Senator Lindsey Graham officially schedules the hearing on Trump's Supreme Court pick to start on October 12th, 7 days from now. Two members of the committee have tested positive. So how can they, and like I can't imagine that there's not more of them quarantining. Fucking Republicans are just like, they all glom on each other and constantly just, they're like slimy pieces of shit. Just, have you seen, like, we believe the fucking Mike Lee was just hugging people all over at the Barrett announcement in the Rose Garden the past weekend. Not this past, the weekend before. But hey, of course, Lindsey Graham is going to be responsive to the voters, right? I showed the picture of Jamie Harrison putting up the plexiglass here on the side. I showed that when we were making fun of the Republicans.
Graham is like,
being
it reminds
stupid
me of
about
playing
COVID
Monopoly with my
during the Trump shit. But here he is from the same debate talking about the Amy Coney Barrett nomination.
son. You change the rules. He changes the rules every time he gets. You know, Senator, you said, use my words against me. And you said it after the Kavanaugh meetings, not before the Kavanaugh hearings, after the Kavanaugh hearings. And
19. I mean, they're saying there were people at the debate. There were like staffers at the debate tested positive, didn't they? Is the 19 just connected to the Rose Garden event from a week ago? Or is that connected to... Because, like, I'm not sure exactly where Hope Hicks got it or where Trump got it. But, I mean, the Rose Garden event, there was that Reverend, there was Mike Lee, Kellyanne Conway was there, and she's got it. It's more than 19. God damn. And then he went to that fundraiser. And that's what those rich motherfuckers that had to pay $250,000 to get in there, that's what they fucking deserve. I hope they all got the COVID. Fuck them all. They're probably all old, crusty rich people. He already went home. We watched that earlier.
Your words, your promise was that no judicial nominee should be considered or approved or what have you in the last year of an election. And you even named President Trump when you said it. And so this is my thing. You know, my grandfather always taught me, he said, Jamie, a man is only as good as his word. Well, Senator, how good is your word when you made a promise to the American people? And even more, you made a promise to the folks in South Carolina that you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now. And that's the problem that I have. The greatest, I think the greatest heresy that you could do as a public servant is to betray the trust of the people that you took an oath to serve. And that's what you have done. Now, just be a man of it and stand up and say, you know what, I changed my mind. I'm going to do something else. But don't go back and blame it on somebody else for something, a flip-flop that you're making yourself.
So, if I may, I said in August, if an opening comes about, we'll see what the market will bear. Ms. Barrett's going to get confirmed because the president has the constitutional authority to do it. And here's...
Listening to Senator Graham is like...
He's right about that. The president does have the constitutional authority. I don't think it's going to get done because, like, if you believe in a deity is pretty much fucking speaking to you right now like, this shit ain't happening. I don't think they can get her confirmed before the election. I think that's impossible. And then I think it becomes a hell of a lot harder after the election. They will probably get her through in the lame duck session. However, that's still going to be fucking tricky as hell because Mark Kelly is probably going to be seated in mid-November. He's up like 11, 12 points against Martha McSally in Arizona. So that seat's going to flip. They lose a vote. So they have to have 2 votes. But the thing about after the election is I don't think anything's stopping Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski from holding up that vote. Those are the 2 that would vote against the nomination, but the only reason they would vote against the nomination is because of the pressure in the election. But both of them are probably going to lose. So then they've got no reason to block her, and they'll do the fucking Republican thing. So that's, after the election, they're probably going to get it through, even though they're going to be down another vote. Unless more of them get the COVID and more of them have to fucking, and we delay the fucking judicial hearings. But all I know is replacing Lindsey Graham with Jamie Harrison would be a breath of fucking fresh air. And I've donated it to them. If you've got it to give, go give them $1, go give them $2, go give them $5. You will be doing more for democracy than a vote for Joe Biden, I promise you. These Senate races are absolutely important. Thank you so much. Jamie Harrison is a great senator to support. Doug Jones in Alabama. I'm skipping ahead my stories here, but since I'm plugging Senate races that need attention, we're going to go ahead and jump to another debate story. This one is from Tennessee, where there is an unlikely Democratic challenger to Haggerty. Marquita Bradshaw in Tennessee actually has an incredibly good shot. I think Haggerty was appointed by Trump. Or no, they're running for Alexander's seat. That's it. Lamar Alexander is retiring. So this is an open seat. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But Marquita Bradshaw and Bill Haggerty won't debate her. Probably because she's a fucking strong black woman. And speaking of debating a strong black woman, holy shit, we are gonna have fun on Wednesday night when Mike Pence has to debate a strong black woman. And oh my God, is that piece of shit going to get chewed up. I am no Kamala Harris fan, but that woman is an amazing speaker, and she's great at debate. She is going to eat Pence alive, and I am here for it. This whole presidential race has been an absolute shit show. And both candidates are horrible, and I hate everything that's happened around them. However, the one positive ray of light is Kamala Harris versus Mike Pence in a debate. Watching him get emasculated by a strong black woman. I may come. I may ejaculate all over the place. We might have to put a not safe for work up on my stream because we're going to be live streaming it on Wednesday nights. I don't like everything else about the matchups, but oh, this debate. Popcorn indeed. Ooh. But fucking and it's just like in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell says he won't debate, and you know, I wanted to bring up. Let me see if I can find the story I want to do. But Mitch McConnell won't. Oh, okay. I'm wrong. It seems that McConnell has reversed himself, and that we will actually get an Amy McGrath Mitch McConnell debate. McConnell had been ducking her the entire time, and just kept throwing out these just fucking bullshit demands. McConnell was like, I won't debate her with a female moderator, and it has nothing to do with being sexist. And it's like, what? And as I said the night we covered that story, like, McConnell is married to an incredibly powerful woman. I can't imagine that he is sexist. He's a lot of fucking things. I can't imagine that he is sexist. So I don't know what the fucking deal was with, like, I won't debate her with a female moderator. So McGrath announced Friday that she decided to participate in an October 12th debate. If I liked Amy McGrath like any, and I thought she had a chance of beating her, I'd live stream that debate. I don't think she has a chance of beating McConnell. Maybe he looks like shit in this debate, but I don't even think that would sway the race any. Fuck that. Okay, I got through all the stories I want to talk about. Okay, next thing, so fun shit now. On my extremely long stream tonight.
Well, are you a socialist?
Yep. Yeah. A little preview there. This is going to be an interesting question. So, usually only do an hour, but I've been listening to the people. I've gotten the feedback. I'm currently in Facebook jail right now, and I'm planning on expanding to 2+ hours just as soon as we get back on Facebook. I think that'll be the night of the third debate. I'm back on Facebook again. I lied earlier. I said I'm on 15 platforms. I'm actually on 14 platforms right now because I'm in Facebook jail. But okay, this was Carl Sagan. This is the whole reason I wore my Hell Sagan shirt. Carl Sagan was trending today. This fucking clip went viral 30 years after it aired. 30 years. This was 1989 on CNN, early ass CNN. Motherfucking Ted Turner.
Well, are you a socialist?
Billionaire Ted, I might add. I've got somebody who would get incredibly mad at me if I played a Ted Turner clip and didn't call him Billionaire Ted.
Well, are you a socialist?
I'm not sure what a socialist is,
Well,
but I believe that the government has a responsibility to care for the people. I'm not talking about dole. I'm talking about making people self-reliant, people able to take care of themselves. There are countries which are perfectly able to do that. The United States is an extremely rich country. It's perfectly able to do that. It chooses not to. It chooses to have homeless people. We are 19th in the world in infant mortality. 18 other countries save the life.
Oh! Maybe we were 19th in the world in infant mortality then. I don't think that's true now. Okay, hold on. This goes backwards. It doesn't have numbers. Shit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are we? Holy fuck. Did I pass the U.S.? No, we couldn't be that far down, right? I didn't pass us. Holy shit, I didn't pass us. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. United States. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We rank below Cuba. We rank like 40-something in the world in infant mortality. Holy shit. We have dropped that far in 30 years since Carl Sagan said that. God, somebody said to me the other day, greatest country on earth. And I'm like, by what fucking metric? What are you smoking? Holy, we dropped like 30 places in infant mortality in 30 years. Tell me that Reaganomics, the conservatism, that shit didn't fail. We just finished the town hall. It's off now, isn't it? Oh, did they just go to break? Are they still on? I didn't know the Biden town hall was still going. I thought they were wrapping up. Looks like Justin Freakin is like, yeah. I think they wrapped up already, didn't they?
When you're fighting to save America's family.
When you fight and save American family. Yeah. It was only an hour town hall. Yeah, we watched it all. Well, I talked over a lot of it. But goddamn! We fell like 30 places in infant mortality since Carl Sagan said this 30 years ago.
It's perfectly able to do that. It chooses not to. It chooses to have homeless people. We are 19th in the world in infant mortality. 18 other countries.
40-something
save the lives of their babies better than we. How come? They just spend more money on it. They care about their babies more than we care about ours. I think it's a disgrace. Yeah. And this country has vast wealth. You just look at what something like Star Wars, the money spent on Star Wars, already spent $20 billion.
You're sitting right across from somebody who has a vast fucking wealth. And when he says Star Wars, he means the Reagan era fucking program of being able to shoot down missiles, not the movies.
Dollars on it. If these guys are permitted to go ahead, they will spend $1 trillion on Star Wars. Think of what that money could be used for to educate.
And the reason they want to spend that money is to fucking funnel taxpayer money into private fucking contractors. That's all it is. Everything is a scam to funnel taxpayer money to private contractors. Fucking school choice, when you hear about that. Charter schools. That's about funneling taxpayer money to private fucking entities. The fucking concentration camps at the borders. The guy got pissed off at me the other night because I called them concentration camps. Those are for profit. It's all about siphoning taxpayer money out of public hands and into private entities. And it's their friends. It did like the fucking Star Wars. It was all the fucking Reagan military industrial complex friends. Carl Sagan is exactly right. Everything in this country, it's designed to be this way. People say government don't function. No, that's what they want you to think. It functions well at siphoning taxpayer money from us to private corporations. The fucking prison system. Fuck the prison system. It's like me saying the other day, I had the argument with the guy. I was like, we lock up more people than China. China has 3 times the population. I think he actually said, oh, well, we have more people than they do. And I'm like, no, you're a fucking idiot. They have billions. And they're considered a totalitarian country. We're supposed to be a free country. We lock up more people. It's for profit. Those beds in prison are worth a lot of money to Trump's buddies in the prison industry. It's just what we decide to invest money in. Carl Sagan is exactly right.
To help to bring people up to a sense of self-confidence, to improve not just the happiness of people in America, but their economic standing, to improve the competitiveness of the United States compared to other countries. We are using money for the wrong stuff.
By the way, I'm sure he absolutely knew what the word socialism meant. Not a doubt in my mind. But he also knew what it would mean. If he actually said anything about socialism. Alright, so the way we've been wrapping up the show the last couple of days, we've been watching old ads that feature Donald Trump. So we're gonna hop back in. I've got a whole hour of them. We'll watch a couple minutes of them, talk about them. Ooh, great! It even picked up right where we left off. Fantastic. We were in the 90s.
Too big, is it?
No.
Turn left on Trump Avenue.
Ever wonder?
How much you want for your pot? 500. 600.
Introducing Cozone.com, the place to find
How much do you
computer
want for
help
your
and
pot?
buy what's right for you.
Hey.
Pay yourself.
Cozone.com.
See, creepy motherfucker.
Napoleon.
They were making fun of his creepiness back then.
We're all cut from the same cloth, and that cloth is very, very large. It's not too big, is it?
No.
Turn left on Trump Avenue.
Ever wonder why New Yorkers have such big mouths?
Go big or go home.
Because we eat big pizza, like the big New Yorker from Pizza Hut. 16 inches of real New York pizza dripping with cheese.
I didn't realize how many spots he actually did for Pizza Hut.
$9.99. They've got to be losing money on this.
The big New Yorker, new from Pizza Hut. It's beautiful.
Well, he would know all about losing money, wouldn't he?
I put together some really impressive deals. But this thing you've pulled off, it's amazing. A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret? You're a man of few words. I like that.
Got a buck? You're in luck, because you can get a delicious, beefy, big and tasty or a McChicken sandwich for just $1 every day.
Man, as long as you got that democracy thing, I mean, anything is able to be corrupted, except democracy. You give people power. That's all it is. The people overall will make the right decision. You can point to our elections, but they're not fucking democratic enough. They're insanely lopsided and rigged. I have a disdain for marketing. I have a disdain for fast food. I can't tell you the last time I had a fucking McDonald's hamburger. And it was probably because, like, I was somewhere that I needed to eat and we needed to stop. So, like, I was on my way to a concert or something. What has America provided to the fucking world? There's a gif of that guy who's like, do you see that? It's a car turning on right. That's America's only contribution to society. It's true. It is true. We took other people's ideas and made them shittier. Melting pot my ass.
At McDonald's.
Purple. Very, very powerful. I don't know how you do it. I put together some really impressive deals.
You know, I was wondering why he had a University of Tennessee behind him for a minute, and then I'm like, oh shit, it's a Trump tee. It's like, Trump's a Tennessee fan? That don't seem right. What?
But this thing you've pulled off, it's amazing. A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret?
I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather have Grimace for the president. Grimace would have made a much better president than Donald Trump. Alright, I'm getting out of here. Even though I hate McDonald's hamburgers, they still kind of made me a little hungry. It's been a little while since I've eaten. If you haven't, like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Usually do the show around 8 o'clock Eastern every night. We're going to be going live with the debate on Wednesday night. Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. Then this weekend, we're going to do old debates. I'll let you know which two we're going to do on Wednesday night. All right. Go ahead. Light one up. Tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll catch you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.